Okay, good evening, everybody, and welcome in this webinar, Magnetic Branding for Coaches. This is Ahmed Magdi, coach training expert on behalf of Legacy Coaching Institute. I'm welcoming you. Our company is aiming to empower coaches all over the world, helping each coach to learn how to coach, to master the practices, to get the updates and latest trends and recent researches in the industry. And the most important question is how to continue your career and how to launch your career. Because most of training are teaching us how to become coaches. But the most important question, how can I start a career in coaching? This will be our topic in this webinar. I'm welcoming here Alyson. Hi, Alyson.
Hi, Ahmed. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. It's our pleasure for your attendance and to become with us in this webinar. And through a series of questions and consistent questions about this topic, I'm gonna take you on this journey with Alyson. Alyson is gonna be our expert tonight, having an extensive experience in career coaching and personal branding. She's going to teach us her experience. She knows what she's talking about because she lived that. I'll let her actually to introduce herself. So this will be actually our first question. Who is Coach Alyson Garrido? Welcome, Alyson.
Thanks so much. So as Ahmed mentioned, I'm a careers coach. I'm American. I grew up in Massachusetts and lived in Los Angeles for about 10 years. And now I'm in New Zealand. So I'm reporting from the future. It's Wednesday morning here. You're going to love Wednesday, everyone in Egypt and abroad. It's fantastic so far, and I'm happy to be with you. So my business, what it looks like is I think of my practice as two parts. So it's really coaching and then consulting. So the coaching, as you all know, is that part of asking people the right questions. And most people that are coming to me in that capacity are saying, this isn't the right job. I'm not happy with where I am, but I don't know where I'm going. So I don't know where I'm going, but I'm not staying here is a phrase I hear pretty often. So it's really around making big decisions. I kind of think of the coaching part as where am I going? And then the consulting part comes in with how do I get there? So when people know what they want to do, but they aren't sure how to land that role, that's when I help with getting people's CVs in order or interview preparation, salary negotiation, even things like managing your manager. So how are you getting that promotion and advancing in your career?
Okay, thank you, Alyson. Thank you so much. We're excited about this webinar. And at the end of webinar, at the last 10 minutes, we're going to have a Q&A session for all participants who join us tonight. You can send your questions through chat. Once we open the Q&A session, just write your questions and Alyson will answer all of your questions. Okay, Alyson, here we go. Let's begin our journey. And we need first to establish the importance of having a personal brand for a coach and why it really matters for a coach to have a personal brand.
Absolutely. So a lot of time coaches are people, all the time, I'll venture to say, all the time coaches are people who want to help. And it can be really hard to narrow down how you want to help and the people that you want to work with. So I think of your personal brand as really being that anchor that tethers you to where do you want to be, what do you want your practice to look like? Because as you know, you can't be everything to everyone. And when we talk about marketing, once you try to say two things, you lose people, right? They really need to hold on to you being one thing. And that's not to say that you can never change that one thing, but it really can help you and your potential clients know what you are and what kinds of services that you give. And I remember when I was early on in my business, someone called me and they really wanted me to help with a letter. And it was kind of a legal letter, but they weren't asking for legal advice. They really needed more help on how to word things. And so as a person who helps with resumes, as a person who helps with cover letters and CVs, I know how to word things nicely, right? I even do that for interview preparation. So, and this person was really, really adamant that she wanted me to help her write this letter. And I wanted to help because I want to help, and that's kind of how I am. But I remember having this aha moment of, I could do this. It's not really part of my business, but I could help her write this letter. And then I thought, I could also paint her living room. right? Just because I can do something doesn't mean I should. So it gives me that, knowing my brand and how I want to support people really helped me have that anchor of, okay, if I do this thing over here and this thing over here and this thing over here, are those things I want to be known for? So when you can really get a picture of, this is what I want to be known for, then you can start to make all of your decisions based on that image. It's really important to know and cultivate what you enjoy and what you're good at, so then you can tether your personal brand to those milestones and those anchors.
Okay, great. But Alyson, here, once you mentioned that the word that what you enjoy and what you are good at, some people find lots of things that they are enjoying and they are good at, especially with fields which is very broad, like life coaching. Now we have, especially in Middle East here, many people are life coaches. They get the accreditation from largest bodies like ICF and others. And now I'm a life coach. Is life coach itself a personal brand, or I need to get much deeper specialty in life coaching?
I think it's really about your audience. So I had a wonderful marketing coach when I first started my business, and because careers coach can be a lot of different things too, just because it's around your career. And you know what they say, all coaching is life coaching after the second session. So we're all doing the same thing, and all coach training is life coach training, right? But it's really about thinking, who do you want to serve and what do you really like to do? So I worked with a wonderful coach. Her name is Gretchen Pritz. I have a couple coaches that I'll share during my time today, but she really helped me nail down my ideal client. And when I knew my ideal client, that really helped me find that person. So life coaching is great. And if that's working for you, and then, I don't have all the answers. What I can share is what's worked for me and what I see. And what I see oftentimes is the general life coach. Many people might not know what that is. So if you know what, and life coaching can be helping people with stress, helping people with work-life balance, helping people, with, creating a new project or reaching a goal. So, and those are all quite different conversations that you're having with people. So as much as, even if it's the umbrella of life coach, trying to think, what do you really enjoy? Like, what are those conversations that really, really light you up? And a couple of tools to do that. And I do think it is an evolution, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, but if you notice you're working with the same people over and over and you really like that person, you can pivot and start to really look at that person. I was lucky that I had 3 people come to me in a row about 6 months into my coaching practice that they were my absolute ideal client. And so Gretchen, who I mentioned, she actually gave me an ideal client questionnaire. So I was able to talk with them. So I had a good idea of who this person was. And I had actually put pen to paper and wrote down a whole story about my ideal client. Where do they go? What do they do? What do they listen to? What are their problems? Why are they calling me? And so that was really helpful for me to nail down who this person was. And then they started to show up. So as they started to show up, I was able to ask them some questions around why they came to me for support, what's important to them, so it could help me find more of them. And I'll say that my ideal client wasn't always a client. So I had friends and acquaintances where I wasn't working with them. Maybe they didn't need me at the moment, but based on who they were and the way they were conducting themselves and how much I enjoyed our conversations, I started to say to them too, hey, I have identified you as somebody I'd really like to work with. Could I ask you a couple questions so I can find a way to find more people like you to work with? Because I feel like that's really where my strengths are.
Okay. Interesting. So identifying the client profile or the ideal client is the key to establish and to know what is your brand.
I think so. I think it's knowing your ideal client and knowing what you enjoy. So they're really one and the same, right? So who lights you up? Who makes you really
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, based on that, now we come to the niche, and you mentioned this, I think, when you mentioned that what do you enjoy, who you would like to serve, and what are you good at? Is there anything else we can build as a criteria for choosing our niche as a coaches?
Yeah, so if you're thinking about brands that you're aligned with, so I have a couple of websites that I write for, people that I follow, people that I refer back and forth a lot. And so what does their audience look like? So if they're a brand that I'm aligned with and I think my clients might go there, how do I distill that down? So a couple of the places where I regularly refer clients and I write for them. One is a website called Fairy God Boss. Another is a website called Career Contessa. So having those as anchors and seeing how they talk to people, what are the kinds of people that are commenting, I can start to drill down on my niche there as well. And it's not a stagnant thing. You might find that a couple people come to you like they did with me that have the same issues, same personality, same way. And then you realize it's kind of like you might not know them until they come. And that's okay. I don't want it to be, I don't have a niche, I don't know what to do. But I do think it's good to, as much as you can, test a couple different niches instead of trying to be every single thing to every single person.
Okay, so you encourage testing niches at the beginning to know your favorite tastes and your favorite flavor.
Yeah,
nice.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And just get that sense of, okay, I'd like to work with different people. I'd like to maybe try this. I'd like to try work-life balance, or I'd like to try helping small businesses or entrepreneurs. You can always do that. And, a good way to do that if you don't have any experience is to say, hey, I'm new to coaching and I'd love to work with you and see, how I might be able to help. Because, we're coaches, like we're not going to damage anyone. Right? We're only going to help, especially, everybody on this call is either has the proper training or knows, has access to the proper training to know what coaching is. So we might find that we don't like working with a certain client or they're not quite our perfect fit, but you never have to do it again.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it. And there's so much that you'll learn from the people that aren't quite the right fit, because I have a really great intuition now on the right fit versus not the right fit. And I do regularly tell people that they're not the right fit. And that's not to say that they're, uncoachable or not the right people for any coach. It's just, I know where I can provide the most value. So if I'm talking to someone and I'm seeing these signs that they might be better served by a coach with another specialty or something like that, I love being able to not just send them away, but it's like pick them up and give them to the right person.
Yep.
So for me, that it's all about providing value. I want to make sure that people are taken care of, whether I'm the right coach or not. So if I can say, I'm not the right person for you, but I know that Ahmed will be. So have a chat with him, see how that goes. And then I know and trust Ahmed, so it feels really good for me to do that, and know that I'm putting somebody into the right hands, as opposed to saying you're not my person, good luck, go to ICF and find somebody. I never want to do that, but I do know who I enjoy and who I really want to support. I never want to feel heavy going into a coaching call.
Okay, thank you. That's very nice. Actually, this reminds me of Seth Godin, the marketing guru. One of his quotes, he says that focus on a niche, not a nation. So yes, I can see that at the beginning, usually coaches, they send me messages after training. They want to serve everybody. They have this capacity of caring and empathy. So they want to serve people who are suffering from depression. People who have, maybe they are uncoachable and they need therapists and they need psychiatrists. So I think you have a very profound point here that really your purpose is what you are good at, what do you enjoy, what do you find light as a conversation. You don't need to serve the whole earth. Just focus on people you really are meant to serve in this mission in your life.
Absolutely. And know that those people that aren't the right people for you, like if you can build a community that you can get them to the right support, then you're still serving them, even if they're not, paying you.
Yep. Thank you. Amazing. So regarding the coaching packages, usually coaches have this question of 1 session or 4 sessions or 3 sessions. How did you do it, Alyson, in your work, and what's your steps for doing that? Coaching packages.
Sure. So when I was able to think of how I wanted to support people, it started as I had 1 month and 3 month coaching packages. So I always have an introductory conversation with people that's free of charge. It's a 30-minute, hey, let's get to know each other, make sure that I'm the right person to help, make sure we like each other. And then I will always customize package based on people's needs. That's not to say I don't rules too much. So so I like to bob and weave with what the client needs. So we're having a conversation so I can get a really clear picture of what they need. So you might start in the beginning. If you don't know what it looks like, it might be one month and 3 months. So if a person has a bigger picture thing, that might be a 3-month package versus something that they can work out in a couple different sessions, and that might be 4 weekly and 1 month. So I would say if you need to start with something, start with that and get your pricing down for that. I know we'll talk about pricing a little more later. But if you can have those 2 things that you can share with people, because some people will start off with, what's the cost? And that's okay. I've chosen not to share my prices on my website. But so some people will ask me, what are the costs? And I always invite a conversation, but I always share that too. Like, I don't want to get somebody on a call who's feeling nervous throughout the call of, what is this going to be? So if you can have 2, your 1 month and your 3 month priced out, I think that would be good. I change my packages when I start to see a pattern of people wanting the same thing. So I know I'm saying a lot of this does start with knowing your clients, because once you start to customize things, you'll notice that you're customizing into the same kind of couple of packages all the time. And so what I ended up finding was, and what's on my website right now, is my packages are kind of like the way I just described my coaching to you. So I have one package that's called Find Your Fit. Find Your Fit is not how do you get the job, it's what is the job, what do you want? And it includes an assessment, and it also includes 2 1-hour sessions. So I'm able to say, the Find Your Fit package is these 3 sessions, and at the end, you will have an idea of what kind of role will best suit you. So then now I've got some outcomes and some real clear things about that. So if you know how you'd like to support people, even if it isn't what you're doing right now, you can pop up some packages on that. Maybe your 1 month, and it can be nice and general. Maybe your 1 month is your clarity package, right? Like, that's what we're talking about a lot. In coaches, we help people unpack stuff and get clarity. So maybe one's your clarity and one is your action plan, right? So it doesn't have to be super specific, but people like a little bit of guidance. And I think that it's important that they see that you do have packages and you do have a plan. Although as coaches, we try not to guide too much. I think that there is a certain amount of credibility that goes along with having some packages on your website, even if they're not really detailed. So your clarity package might be, you'll leave with clarity around a difficult decision that you're trying to make, right? That's nice and generic, but it tells people, okay, I might work with them for 1 month, I might work with them for 3 months, rather than like, I don't know if this is a one-time conversation, I don't know if I need to commit to a year. So it just gives people a little bit of guidance on what they might do with you. And don't be afraid to change them. The way I have it on my website And of course, you're all welcome to look and steal freely anything that you think sounds good.
Yeah.
That's no big deal. But what I have is I have sample packages, and I say these are sample packages. I also customize based on client needs. And I always say that when people reach out about pricing too. I just had somebody yesterday that I was like, I want to work with you so bad. Like, these are my prices, and whatever works for you. Like, I don't want price to be an option. And I don't do that regularly, but it's my business. I get to do what I want.
Yeah.
And that's what I want.
Yeah. I love the idea of having customized packages. So it's not like rigid. You either do this package or not. Because I found many coaches who are very rigid and structured. You have to follow my plan. I find that this is against the idea of coaching itself, that I have to decide what's my way, what's my pathway. I need 2 sessions, 3 sessions. And at the same time, it gives credibility for the coach to have some packages based on experience as listening for audience.
Yes. And that's what you can say is, based on my experience, many people fall into these packages, but not everyone. So you give that freedom of don't worry about it. You don't have to go in here. I also never want somebody to go to my website and then call me and say, I'd like the number 2 special, please. And I say, okay, that'll be $49.95. Like, that's not and that's okay for people that it is, but it's not for me.
Yep. Okay. That's very nice to have these standards for your practice. And as you mentioned pricing, I think this is also one of the big issues for coaches globally regarding the pricing our services. So do you have any thoughts here and standards for that?
Yeah. So there's a lot out there that's like, double your prices and see who will stick with you when you double your prices, and, kind of starting at a really high level. You have to do what's comfortable for you. Money is such a sensitive thing, and it's so, so very personal. But this also goes back to knowing your customer, right? So if you have a customer that's going to pay you a lower cost per hour based on their profile, you might have to get more customers to reach your financial goals. So it's kind of, if you want 200 people at $50 an hour or 50 people at $200 an hour, you're going to make the same amount of money. But if you hate those 50 people that are paying you $200 an hour, it doesn't much matter, right? So I had somebody tell me early on in my business, so much of what you do is pretty transactional, the resumes and stuff. Like, you don't have to like all your clients. And I do. For me, that's important. And so I've identified price points that I'm comfortable with. In the beginning, I think people tend to be pretty low. You have to be comfortable. Talk to other coaches and see what they're charging. I'll tell you, when I moved to New Zealand, I was offered a contracting role, and I was like, I don't know what contracting prices are like here. Like, the number looked good to me, but I didn't have any idea what it really meant. And so I went to a fellow coach and I said, hey, is this normal? And she said, this is how much I get paid by this organization. This is how much I get paid by this organization. This is how much I charge an hour. And it was just like, like we're so scared to talk about money, but I think we only help each other when we do. So, don't be afraid to talk to people. And also, you might, like, I know how much, my mentor charges, and I know how comfortable I am being aligned with him and the experience he has and those kinds of things. I've also seen, and this is something that weighs heavy for me, is I know that if I'm charging $40 an hour for coaching and advertising everywhere that I charge $40 an hour for coaching, I'm not helping the coaching industry. I'm setting a standard that coaches are worth $40 an hour. So I do think of the greater good and what is industry standards. I saw somebody who advertised, I charge $50 an hour, and that's less than a plumber. And it's like, why are we talking about that? Plumbers do something different, right? And like I don't think it's of value to undercut each other. I don't think it's of value, because at the end of the day, if somebody's price shopping and I'm saying I'll undercut everybody's prices, the value I'm providing is not coming
Mm-hmm.
through.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not saying I don't, like I just told you, right? I had somebody that I was like, I'll do it however, whatever works for you, because I knew I wanted to work with her and have fun. I'll tell you, in the beginning, I charged a lower rate. I charged a rate that I was comfortable with, but I have given myself regular raises. I look at what the industry norms are regularly. I talk to people regularly, and I look at what's comfortable for me. Some people will raise their prices and raise it on everybody throughout their client list. When I raise my prices, I only raise it for new clients. Mm-hmm. Again, this is what feels right for me. I would just, the biggest things I think are to think about what can your target customer tolerate. Also, doing it for free or doing it for super discounted, if people aren't stretching, they might not feel the commitment that you want them to feel. I've had many people who someone else has sent them in, or, a sister or husband or parent, and it's almost never worked. Like really almost never. So there is something that goes along with people paying for themselves and paying an amount that shows their commitment to change. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't have a magic number, but I have those are kind of my big thoughts on the topic. Is you do have to, people have to commit, and the way that we get them to commit is monetarily. And also, I was looking the other day at single session packages. So I'm happy to share. I charge for my single session packages. So that's like salary negotiation, right? Or interview preparation, 1 hour. And they're never coming back. So it's not packaged. So this is the highest I charge per hour for individuals, and it's $195. Mm-hmm. And I just said to someone the other day, like, I'm charging someone $200, $195 for salary negotiation. Like, the ROI on that is unreal.
Yeah.
So it's like, is that smart? Like, is that something, do I want to rethink that? Maybe, I don't know. But it was literally just the other day that I went, whoa, like but $195 is a stretch for a lot of people, but we're talking about thousands and thousands in their pockets as a result of that investment. So you do provide.
Okay, so Alyson, this is one of the dilemmas of the industry in coaching, that many coaches are facing resistance when they show their prices, especially in cultures which has a little average awareness about coaching. So especially when we talk here about Middle East, still coaching is a growing industry. So once I offer my service and I start to promote my packages on social media and digital world, many people start to say, what's coaching and how coach can help me? So when I say that, yes, my coaching session is like $75 or $100, people start to have a huge resistance against the idea. Mm-hmm. How, Alyson, and your experience, how to soothe this resistance, how to minimize this resistance?
So I think if you're starting out and people don't know what it is, mm-hmm. what if you just did a session? Mm-hmm. A lot of times people need to experience it. So that's as much as you're willing, right? It's free time, but is it an investment long term? Because if you can do a couple of sessions and get some cheerleaders around and get some people talking about how great it is,
the word of mouth start to work. Yeah.
The other thing is, if price is an issue for people, is price the issue for people? Or is that an easy thing to say, all right, I'm not committed enough to make the investment?
Yeah, yeah.
Because that's a thing, right? Like if I don't want to spend, like, so that's the thing too, when you think about discounting, like if I'm charging $400 an hour, is this going to be appealing to someone at 100? Or are they just not going to, right? So like I could make drastic cuts, but if people aren't willing to make any investment, that might be what you're dealing with, as opposed to the cost is turning me away. It might be any cost is turning me away. So
I
it
think
goes
you are talking. Yeah, I think you are talking about big points here regarding that. Payment enhances commitment. 100%, right? So once I pay, I feel much more committed to learn and to utilize this coaching session or coaching package. But free coaching doesn't work.
No, not a commitment. Not a commitment of, I'll coach you for free for 3 months. But if somebody's genuinely saying, I don't know what coaching is, I don't know how it could help, and you think that they would be ready to make, like, if it's not like I don't want to pay for it, but I genuinely don't understand what it is. And you're thinking, this is somebody I'd love to work with, this is somebody I know I could help, and they get it if they got it. Then those are the people that I think let me do a quick session and tell you what it's like. But no, you're right. Like, it's like free coaching is the people that have their parents pay for it. It's wishy-washy. You don't have that investment.
Yes. Just thinking about it. They are not committed to do it. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about some tools for magnetic branding for coaches based on your experience. Some tips and tricks from Alyson experience.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it starts with knowing yourself. So you've got to start with, what are your strengths? How do you want to support clients? What really lights you up? So that gives you your anchors. I have the book here, Strengths Finder. It's one of my favorites, and I've used it throughout my career, from my first job until when I started my coaching practice. I thought, I think I would like to use this with my clients. And then I took it again, and it was like, you're doing the right thing. Like, I mean, it was like just everything aligned with me wanting to do the coaching. So I think an assessment like Strengths Finder, it gives you some ideas of how to talk about your strengths and also what kind of work environment suits your strengths. So I think that is really good. The other things are just, at the end of a client call or at the end of a week, if you're still in a traditional job, what really lights you up and what's dragging you down a little bit. So if you can know what lights you up, what are your strengths, then you have those anchors to say, these are the problems I want to solve, these are the people I want to work with. So that's the biggest thing, I think, and what is that image? Another way to think about knowing yourself and knowing what you want that image to be is to consider, so in 5 years, you are getting phone calls all the time for your expertise. People are asking you for quotes for articles. People are asking you to write books. People are asking you to be on a stage. What are the things that you're talking about?
Wow.
Take a minute. Yeah. So take a minute and, really write down, like, okay, so if the thing you're excited about is getting on that stage, consider that. What are you wearing? Where is that stage? Who's in the audience? What did your day look like before you got on that stage? What is all the stuff wrapped around that 5 years out success story? And then you can really anchor things. So it's easy, again, when we're really ready to help and excited to support people, to say yes to every single thing. But if you have that image of, in 5 years, I want this kind of life, it'll make it really easy to say, am I doing things that align with that life, with that lifestyle, whatever it is? And, that branding, that thing I want to be known for. And I think when you think about that, that can also knock you out of, I want to support everybody all the time. I think when you have that vision of who's in that audience, that might bring some clarity. So whether you're talking to your coach about it or you're just putting pen to paper and writing it down, I think those can be some really important anchors along with your strengths to say, what is that image? And then you can align to the image, and you won't feel bad saying no to things because you'll know that the things that you're saying no to don't align with that image, right? It's me saying, I'm not going to write that letter. I'm not going to paint your living room. Even though those are things I can do and they would support you and help you, it doesn't make sense for me. It's not going to get me to that 5 year plan or goal. So that's number one. It's all about knowing yourself and having that anchor. The next one is knowing your clients. So where are they? Where do you find them? Who are the people that, like, what are the blogs that they read? Where are the places that they go? So you can get to them and speak their language. Because if you know all about yourself, but you don't know who is going to buy your services, it's not so helpful. So really thinking about who is that client, writing that down, getting a sense of what that looks like, where they go, how you can support them, what language they speak, what their tolerance is for price. You know, because if you like a person and you want to get 4 of them as opposed to having one person at a higher price point, that's totally cool. But you've got to know that in planning for your business and planning your pricing, because you don't want to price people out. And then the third thing is you've got all this information, you've got to get it out there. You've got to promote yourself. And that doesn't mean you have to sell from the stage, right? Like, I think that's what we hear all the time is, how do you sell from the stage? And if you are keen to sell from the stage, by all means, that's awesome, but that's not the only way. So different people are building their businesses differently. Like, Ahmed, I know you're awesome on the stage, and you're so, like, your personality type is like, you're the guru. You've got all the information and you're really ready to share that. And, you know, talk about magnetic brand, like, that's you. That would not be where I'm comfortable. I would be a little nervous. And if I was trying to be a coach like you, I would be not true to me. And then it would be like, what's wrong? I don't trust her somehow, because I wouldn't be comfortable and I'd be performing. Whereas you're like natural, and that's you. So people know and love and trust you because you're being authentically you. For me, it's the individual conversations. Like, I'm much more comfortable working with people and even talking with people about my business one-to-one. I can go up and give people information from the stage, but when I'm having those conversations, it's individual conversations, and mostly getting referrals from word of mouth as opposed to speaking or having a big brand or company. So it's really about what feels good to you. If you are promoting your brand, you know, going out and promoting your brand and coming home and feeling rotten, you gotta find a new role. We got to try something new, because why, you know, if you can work for somebody else, you can do a lot of things and feel rotten about them. Like, we do not want to feel rotten. And that's different than getting out of your comfort zone, right? You do need to get out of your comfort zone and stretch yourself, but it's not about performing or being something that you're not. You know, I love writing. So writing's a big way that I promote myself. But for me, I know what I'm comfortable with, and I'll give another coach name at this point too. Beth A. Grant. She has what she calls the archetype alignment grid. And so she gives a lot of tools based on your personality, like how you like to sell, and also how you work with your clients. So what we see so often is the guru. So we sometimes feel like, I have to be that to be a good coach and get business, and you don't. If that's natural for you, that's great. And that's what we see, because they're the out there ones. But that's not the only way to build your business. So really figuring out how you can promote your business in a way that feels really good for you. So I'll go through those again. So it's knowing yourself, knowing your strengths, what you want, knowing your client, and then putting that knowledge into action to start to talk about yourself and make sure people get to know you.
Yeah. Thank you, Alyson. I like the idea of being yourself in marketing. And I can totally relate to what you are saying. So you don't need to do all the marketing tools out there so that you can market yourself. Some people love public speaking. Some people love to write, as you mentioned. Other people love networking. Compare that, I think you remind me of introvert and extrovert. I think this is a big idea here when it comes to marketing. And I found many threads here of how to market as an introvert, because there is a special marketing tools for introverts, like writing and talking behind the screen more than that. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Okay, and we want to get a little personal with Alyson and to know more about your daily lifestyle as a coach, to inspire future coaches, how it looks like to have established business as a coach.
Absolutely. So right now, my business is probably 75% one-to-one work, and I work with clients globally, so it's mostly over the phone. My ideal client load is probably 12-ish, maybe 8 to 12 one-hour sessions a week, and I'm in that zone now. It's going really well. The other part of my day and income generating day is facilitation. So they mentioned I'm 75% one-to-one, 25% facilitation. The facilitation work is mostly from consultants. So there are organizations that are pitching to big companies and they ask me to deliver their content. Whereas my coaching, my one-to-one coaching is almost all me. I have one outplacement firm that sometimes sends me business, but that's all me. And then the consulting part or the facilitation part is companies who have relationships with great big companies and they want me to deliver their content. It is still consistent with my coaching. So the content that I'm delivering is for, like, tomorrow I'm full day with a government agency talking about emerging leadership. So I'm working with their new leaders. I work with a lot of organizations around giving effective feedback, also planning for your future. So what do you want your career and life and everything to look like? So those are the things that I facilitate. It's not like I facilitate, project management 101. It's all really aligned with my coaching practice. So when I was in LA, I did a lot of things for free. And it was a really clear hill of like, hi, I'm Alyson. Can I please speak? Nice to meet you. Can I please speak? And I'll do it for free. To Alyson, can you please speak? To how much do you charge for speaking? But it was like, switches flipped. So it was okay to do that work for free for me because I was just getting myself out there. But now the things I do for free are like, I have organizations that I volunteer for and it's very targeted. I did reach a point where I was doing so much for free early on in my business that it started to interfere with paid work. So that is something to look out for and decide what you will do for free. I went off on a little bit of a tangent there, but what I'm saying is all of my work still aligns. So now even my facilitation, it's facilitated work. I'm getting paid. I love the companies that I work for. I feel really supported by them. So it's not like, oh, they give me work and money and I like money. It's like they're organizations I know and love and trust and I'm happy to work for. And I'm also facilitating things that would easily lead to one-to-one clients. So it's like I'm getting paid to advertise what I do all day and I love the content. So it's so awesome. I have my calendar open. So you'll see on my website, I have my calendar open for people to schedule the 30-minute coaching calls anytime. So I have people popping onto my calendar left and right. So if we talk about this week, yesterday I had 7 career kickstart sessions. So those are my 30-minute get to know yous. And I had the day open and people can just pop onto my calendar. And so that was really good. They were all over. There were some in New Zealand. There were some in the States on both coasts. And then there was one in person here in Wellington. That is a probably typical day. So I'd have a lot of those, but because I leave my calendar open, sometimes clients pop in. I obviously schedule interviews and conversations for myself too. But I'll give you a sense of the whole week now that I've talked about it in bigger blocks. So yesterday was pretty much all career kickstart sessions. Yeah, all career kickstart sessions. There were no regular client calls. It was emails, career kickstart sessions, almost kind of 1 hour, 30-minute sessions, and then follow up from those. Today, I'm here with you. After this, I have 2 networking meetings, 1-hour client call, a client that's been with me since the very beginning, and then 1 career kickstart session. Thursday, I am full day in a leadership training. And then Friday, I think I have 2 1-hour client calls and 3 networking meetings. So I reached a point in my business when I was in LA that I was exclusively on Fridays doing networking. And I really liked that because it ended my week like having coffee with a ton of people I really loved. So it just really ended on a high note. And usually clients didn't want to meet on Friday anyways. And so that was really good for me. I do block 2 half days out per week that are professional development time, because if I don't block out my calendar, it will be filled up through things I can't control. People just pop on. I've also found just recently, as I've gotten busier and busier, I've started to block out my calendar. So when I see that my calendar is getting pretty full, I actually block out the time myself, because the way I work, people, oh my God, I just got a job offer. I need to talk to you now. Or I have an interview on Thursdays, or any way you can fit me in. So I've started actually crunching my calendar a little bit more so I can make sure that I'm supporting my current clients as opposed to people just popping on. And that's meant people who need a career kickstart session, that 30-minute call might have to wait a little longer. But that feels okay for me.
Okay, a question here, Alyson, regarding that. It's really pretty impressive that you spent yesterday 7 kickstart your career session. This is for free, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you just aim here to get the client to taste coaching and to try you and to see the coachee fit. And then after that, they might not proceed with you, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's a huge time investment from you.
Yep. It is. And I know some coaches who only do those, 1 day a week. I haven't reached a point where I've needed to. It feels good to me right now, the way it is. But I got 3 new coaching clients yesterday. And I know that, so I had 3 people that weren't the right fit. I was able to give them advice and either referrals or some things to try. Mm-hmm. So provided them value. Hopefully they're singing my praises, right? It was not 30 minutes wasted for either of us. And then 3 that will be my clients. So, and 1 who just didn't show up. That's okay. And that happens too. But yeah, so for me, it's worth the investment. I want to spend that time. I don't do a lot of coaching on that call though, that it's not about giving a taste of coaching, because people pretty much know, I find, or I give them a version of that pitch I gave you in the beginning, which is coaching and consulting is where you're going and then how do you get there. And so it really is about fit. Like, how committed are you to doing it? I had one person who, she was saying, I don't want to take that much time. I really need a magic bullet. And I was like, I don't have a magic bullet. Like, you've got to put in the work. And but she had a conversation with a professional, and if I had somebody that had that magic bullet, I would have happily given it to her, but I gave her some ideas on some things she could start with, like, how much money do you actually need to make? So look at those things, start to have some informational interviews, and then if you need help sorting it out, that's great. But yeah, with a referral-based business, I'm okay with that being how I'm spending my time. I'm also okay, they managed to sneak in those 7 people. Sometimes people have to wait 10 days to get that 30-minute call. So some of those people have scheduled a while ago and made that commitment to wait for me. Yeah, I'd just rather do that than have people that aren't the right fit. And I don't want to work with. Again, that's right for me. I have had people say that I should be charging for it. I've had people say that I should be charging, and then maybe it's a credit, like a lot of lawyers do that. Like, they charge for the consultation, and then if you work with them, that will go toward their fees. It's just, I don't think that I have the only way, but it's what feels right to me.
Okay, interesting. I think this is a huge message for coaches here, to invest the time and effort with new people to coaching to just make sure that this is the right fit, to build awareness for people, and after that comes the money. So I think take care of your clients, and money will follow. We can summarize it in that way. Okay.
For me, it's provide value. Yeah, take care of your clients, provide value, and trusting them, providing that value. And I need to look on my shelf. Oh, it's not on my shelf. Oh yeah, Prosperous Coach. So the Prosperous Coach is a book that a lot of coaches know.
Yes, Rich Litvin. Yes.
Yeah, and but the one of the things that they preach is like have those deep conversations, give people, a real taste of what coaching is. And at one point my initial calls were way too long, and I needed to pare it down. And that was something I learned. Like I was coaching, I was getting right into it, and then it was like, then I was not using my time well. I was providing too much value for a free call and too much time for me to make it sustainable. So now I'm like 30 minutes, and then for me it's like, don't coach, just get a feel, like
don't coach.
But it's I can ask a couple of those questions, but I don't need to get them to the outcome at the end of those 30 minutes. And knowing too that, like I've said, it's 30 minutes, so I keep a good rhythm. But I've been doing this for 4 years now. That was not immediate.
Okay, Alyson, this is your website, right? AlysonGarrido.com.
That's me. Yeah.
Yes, for all participants today, or even for participants who are gonna see this webinar on YouTube and our social media channels, if anybody would like to check Alyson Garrido work and your packages and coaching sessions, you can simply just get inside the website, and I think everything is structured and clear with Alyson. Okay, I think you mentioned lots of advices today, Alyson. I'm really, really grateful for your time and your amazing insights. If there's only one final golden advice before Q&A session, what could it be for all coaches who are listening to us and who will listen to us?
One thing that was important for me was to run my business from the beginning the way I always wanted it to be. So it meant not working 14 hours a day every day. It meant being able to go on a holiday. I went on my first holiday and I was scared out of my wits that I was going away for 3 weeks, and like, would my business be there when I got back? What would this look like? But it was important. It was important for me, and it's helped me be successful, that I didn't compromise on what I wanted to do long term right away. So I don't believe the whole, like, we've got to work 20 hours a day for the first 2 years to have it be successful. Because if you're working 20 hours a day for 2 years, can you function? Can you be the best coach you can be? And also, how do you really figure out how to pull it back if you've gotten yourself that far down? So I've tried to keep hours that are the way I want them to be, even when it's really tempting. And, I was at a conference all weekend this weekend. I took Monday off, and Monday was a day I could have been working and building income, but I need to be the best coach I can be. And part of that is going to a conference and then taking a day for myself so I can be recharged and ready to be a good coach.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Alyson. Okay, coaches, if you have any question, we still have like less than 8 minutes. So any questions for Alyson regarding branding and building your business and starting your career as a coach? We are happy to get your question in the chat.
I'm also happy to, if people want to reach out, connect on LinkedIn, just give me some context so I know where I know you from, because I'm not seeing any of your faces, just a few names up on the screen. So if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, just let me know that you know me through Ahmed and the Legacy Coaching Institute, or if you want to reach out with questions, if they come up later, I'm here.
Okay. A question here from Wael. He says that, do you do coaching only on phone?
Largely. I'd say probably 90%. But even when I was in LA and I was working with people in LA, it was mostly on the phone. Here, now that I've moved, I work with a lot of people still in Los Angeles and all over the States, and actually some in Europe too, and Brazil, that are over the phone. I always, if people feel funny about it, and in my contracts, I always say via phone or video call. It's really rare. I think that it's because, though, I start on the phone. And so if I started with a video call, I think people would want to do video calls. And for some people, it's important, and I'll happily do it. But most of the time, it is via phone.
Okay. Another question from Muhammad Samir. He's asking about, is it a good idea to put price of coaching session on the website? You mentioned it's not a good idea. Can you tell me more about that? Good or not good?
Yeah, well, I mean, I had them on early in my business, and because that's what felt right for me. I wanted people to know what they were getting into. I've had mentors and other coaches say, if you put your prices on your website, you don't get to alter them, right? So if I want to give somebody a discount, or I want to work with people in a different way, it takes away your ability to do it. It also will allow people to self-select, and if they don't want to work with you because of the price, they might not call. Mm-hmm. So it really is it's really what feels right to you. I don't think the way I do it is right for everyone, but it's right for me. I do know coaches that don't have their prices on the website, and if people reach out to ask for pricing, they will say, let's have a conversation and see what pricing would fit with you. I don't do that. It's not a secret. If people are worried about pricing, I'll share it, but I do also share that I customize programs. So for me, that's a way to say, this is my pricing, but maybe you don't need as much or change. I also don't regularly discount. If people ask for a discount, I almost never do it. I will say you can have less and pay less. But I don't usually say, oh yeah, I can do 10% off. I don't. I give discounts if people refer, and I give discounts, if I am so excited to work with someone, and I'm just thinking, like, I get that this might legitimately not be a commitment issue, but a cost issue if people are between jobs or young students. I might do it for a discount where it's what will be a price that you can handle. So they know how much I charge, they know my value, and so they're stretching a bit. Yeah, those are my thoughts.
Yeah. Okay.
No hard answers, but yeah.
Thank you so much, Alyson, for your nice insights, and you were very generous in what you've mentioned. Thank you so much. Also, very well is saying thank you very much for sharing these great thoughts. And thank you all of you coaches. Thanks for joining us. Very grateful for you, Alyson, for taking this time together. And definitely we'll be in touch for much more value to provide for all audience. So thank you. And thank you for all of our participants. Again, this is our website and Alyson website in case you'd like to join her and to learn more from her. And at the end, thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Ahmed. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks, bye.